Oh, you can probably scoot down one because Meg's not here.
That's something we'll soon find out. I think so. I think so.
Is it okay?
I'm a little surprised. No, yeah, I'm all right. No, really, I'm really okay. No, I'm.
Are you sure?
Well, I wasn't sure what sounded about. I've been sharing. Okay. All right, you guys all ready?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I've been doing. Good evening. Welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, July 19th, 2021. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, July 19th. Hey, Joe, can you take care of the echo back there?
You don't like that?
No. Not one bit.
You got that, Jan?
We will take first off, I want to, before we even start, thank Ron Nolan for his years of service as chairman. He has stepped down and will be retiring on the board at the end of the year, I believe. Yeah. And I just want to thank you for all your guidance. This is my first meeting as chair, but thank you. All right, we'll take the appeals in the order that they are on the agenda. First one is 2281 Margaret Street Properties. Yes, sir. Whatever you feel comfortable with. First, just for everyone's, your name and.
Yeah, James Lockenville, I'm a member, sole member of the Margaret Street Properties LLC.
Okay. And you are looking to change the use at 244 Margaret Street from a beauty salon to an apartment?
Correct.
Okay. Anything particular about it we need to know?
No, it's just a basic rectangle, 1,000 square feet. Beauty parlor comes out, apartment goes in. It reduces the amount of parking required from 250 per square foot per 1,000 square feet to 1. So it'll add 3 parking spaces to the lot rather than reduce it. Other than that, I got no bites on it. As we all know, nobody's going out to get any hair done and there's nobody opening. So to reduce my loss, it's best just to convert it.
Okay.
And to do that, I need a special or change of use permit, which is, I guess, this is a change of use. Joe, it's a special use permit or
Special use permit.
Thank
Any residential use in a B1 district requires special use.
which brings me here tonight.
And the rest of the building is residential?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, comments from the board?
I'm just curious, how many bedrooms in the apartment you're
One.
proposing? One. Okay. Is it a like kitchen, living room, bedroom, bathroom?
We did
setup, or-
upstairs into a 1-bedroom, 1,000 square feet. The living room is about 700 square feet with full bath. It's gorgeous with an island and windows to match. It's beautiful. There's nice room for a DJ,
Oh, yeah.
pool party.
It's 1,000 square feet.
1,000 even.
Yeah, so that would have been 4 spaces. Now it needs 1,
Correct.
2. It's a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, but it's still a cumulative number of apartments
Oh, that's right, yes.
above 10 requires.
Above 10.
Actually, it's 1.75. Sorry.
Call it 2. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'd like to open it to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Are we still doing any sort of Zoom or anything remote?
We're streaming live, but we're not taking questions from them. Not really.
We are not.
No.
Okay. All right, then I will close the public hearing. And let's move on to the full environmental assessment form. Everyone review it. I know I breezed through it. Any comments, questions?
Only that B, C, they checked yes for zoning board, asked for what's required, and that's going to be the SUP, and the building inspector would be listed. It's not going to the planning board, right? So,
No,
building inspector under D, I guess.
no need for planning board. No.
Right, but building inspector for the permit would be the two things, right?
Yes. Everything else look good? Entertain a motion?
I'd like to.
You haven't been able to do one in how many years?
How do you do that again? Wait, I gotta find my note. I'd like to motion that we find, after examining the seeker for appeal number 2281, we find no adverse environmental impact.
Seconded by Kelly. All in favor? No nays? Okay, that is approved. Now I will entertain a motion in regards to the appeal, the special use permit.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion as regards appeal number 2281, that we grant a special use permit for the change of use from a beauty salon to an apartment for allowing the residential use in that district as allowed by special use permit.
Second. And this is a written.
Sorry. That's okay. 5 time meetings.
You're supposed to fold it so Ellie can't see it.
Ken, you did not see it. I know.
That is 5 yes votes. Your special use permit
Thank
is
you.
approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations on bringing them out.
Yeah, thank you.
Soon.
That'll be your first move.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, 2282, Don Berkey. Don, come on up. Good evening. Excellent. Looking to get approval for your fence that is actually already existing?
Yes, I removed the hedge that was dying,
Yeah,
but 1/3 of it was already dead.
okay.
So I think I made a big improvement in the area. I've had a number of neighbors come by and tell me how nice it looks, so.
Okay,
Yeah, there was a, 10-foot wide by 12-foot high hedge there.
we do not have a diagram of exactly what this is, do we, Joe?
There should be something included in there. Okay, so you got to scroll up some, Jim. No, the other way. Okay, so you can see what's outlined in black magic marker there. That's where the
Okay.
fence is, and the rest of the hedge has been removed.
How far is it from the property line? Do we know?
It's 12 feet from the curb.
How many?
12 feet from the curb.
But we don't know how far it is from the property line.
No.
So we don't know how far it is in the front yard setback. Definitively.
Definitively no.
And the curb is usually how far from property?
You know, depending on how new or old the street is, you know, on a new street, the right of way is 66 feet wide and the property line would be 33 from the center line, but certainly McMartin is not that. It's, you know, 4 feet further from the curb than the hedge was.
Okay.
So that I can say.
How far is it from the curb? Do we have how many feet it is from the curb itself?
12 feet.
12 feet. Okay, yeah, you did say that. All right. And do we have any idea how long it is?
52 by 23.
Okay, so
52
23,
up and then 23 to the house.
okay. All right,
Yeah, I closed out my wife is in her 4th year of Alzheimer's.
yeah.
Another reason I did it, I had to close out the backyard so she couldn't get out any longer.
Sorry to hear that. Okay. Anybody have any questions for him? I mean, it's pretty well set where it is.
Yeah.
Let me open it to the public. Any comments from the public? Nothing? All right, I will close the public hearing portion. And I'll entertain, have people reviewed this is a short environmental assessment form?
Just the number 2 needs to specify zoning board.
All right, with that addition, I'd like to entertain a motion on the,
I'll make a motion for Appeal 2282 regarding the short environmental assessment form. After review, it is found that there is little to no environmental impact, and the board chair may check no or small impact that may occur in each box from 1 through 11 and sign.
all in favor? Aye. Passed. I will entertain a motion in regards to the appeal itself.
I'll make a motion for Appeal 2282 to approve for a fence that is currently installed, replacing a pre-existing hedge that was removed. The fence does exceed the allowed height, and I make a motion to approve for the new fence that is installed.
Second.
Second by Ellie.
Next one's coming in an envelope.
You just can't give it up. All right, we have 5 yeses, so you're good to go. You're good. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yes.
All right. Next one, 2283, Stephen and Teresa Frazier. Frazier. Come on up.
I'm not sure he's gonna,
Oh, so if you aren't Teresa, who are you?
I'm Cindy.
Oh, okay.
So Teresa's his mother.
Ah, okay, okay. All right. So you're looking to install a 6-foot fence. And we didn't have a diagram, although they did send something around. It's just going out to the sidewalk on North Catherine, and that's it?
Right.
Okay. Add a couple of questions. First off, the applicant address and the location of the request are different.
It's a duplex.
Okay,
And I think the main part of the house always was on
Elm Street.
Elm Street. And then the other side is on North Catherine.
okay,
So she lives on North Catherine Street, so she always just says North Catherine, but I think the actual on address is on Elm Street.
okay. All right, so they're not adjacent houses or anything like
Oh, no,
that?
no.
They're the same building?
One building, same
Okay.
building.
All right. And there used to be a hedge there,
Yes,
and the hedge is gone.
yeah, that is gone.
Is the fence up? Or not?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I'm waiting for it.
Okay. Okay.
Well, that's unusual.
Yeah.
I see I should have done first, right?
Now in his
Like the
defense,
hedge
the hedge
outside
came
or-
out and he had a pool and he had to enclose it one way or the other.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it was an 8-foot hedge. And we wanted to put a 6-foot fence where the hedge was.
Yep.
Oh, there it is, yeah, okay.
So from the side of the shed.
From
to
the side of the
sidewalk.
shed to the, right, to the sidewalk. And you see why we wanted to put it there.
Does it go to the end of, does it go all the way to the sidewalk?
It goes from the shed
From the shed out to the street,
to
right?
the street,
Well, to the sidewalk.
to the, right.
So the property line is at the edge of the driveway and that belongs, which
Against
property,
the sidewalk, inside edge of the sidewalk.
if it's going from the middle of the shed, which property does the shed belong to?
His property.
Me, my mother's property. Her house is over here,
Okay,
and that's an actual building lot where her shed is on. And she wants the fence from that building to the,
Basically, the back of the shed, your side of the shed.
from the side of the shed to the.
so from the
Right.
middle of the side of the shed? Or is it all the way in the back
No, the
corner?
I'm
Back corner.
The back corner of the
Gotcha,
shed.
okay.
Right.
so am I correct, Joe? He can take a 6-foot fence out even with the front corner of his house? And that's considered the side yard?
I actually don't think, the setback in that district is 20 feet. So anything beyond 20 feet, there's no question that it can be 6 feet high. The question is the first 20 feet. And
But if the house is in it, can he bring
yeah,
it?
I think the language indicates it has to comply with the setback requirements. Just give me 1 second.
And there, the requirement would be 4 feet, correct?
4 feet within the first 20 feet.
Just out of curiosity, why 6 feet and not 4?
Just for privacy of the,
A greater amount of privacy from the other house?
exactly.
Okay,
Well,
so
Okay.
sorry to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
the language actually says, any wall or fence located in the required front yard or the required setback. So the front of the house doesn't have anything to do with it.
Okay,
Sometimes when it just says front yard, then anything in front of the house is the front yard, but where it says setback. So the
Okay.
setback in this district is 20 feet.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's 42 feet long.
Yeah. I guess the question is, why do you need 6 feet all the way to the sidewalk when the adjacent house is set back 15, 20 feet? See where
We're
we're,
replacing the hedge because actually the hedge went all the way around the side too, but that's been gone for a while. But I think just because,
Wow, we just did it.
no, the side one next to the sidewalk.
Yeah, we've seen pictures where the hedge L shapes down
Yeah.
along the sidewalk too. I don't know how long that part's been.
Well, the L shape has been gone for a while, but the one that's along the build has been there for as long as I've been there.
along the side of their driveway.
On the side of the driveway, right,
Okay.
right.
Any other comments, questions?
I mean, I guess I would say that I understand why it might look odd to come down so many feet and then drop to 4 feet, you know? I mean, it's again, one of these things for me about replacing hedges that are problematic. This one, it was really the end of it probably sticking over onto the sidewalk that became a problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's all, you know, so I don't know. I mean, I guess I think it might look funny to come down for 20 feet of it, which doesn't work out in with fence panels where you'd be 24 or 16. In a sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's only my own comment. I think it looked odd a little bit to drop it, but
So you don't like where my fence goes from 8 feet to 6 feet?
I don't. Every time I go by it, I think, God, I can't believe it. No, but anyway.
I personally struggle with the lack of need as opposed to want. And I guess I just want to be clear, I do understand that you're wanting to replace a hedge that was taller and you were used to that. I have lived in my home for 27 years, and when I got there was a 8 to 10 foot cedar hedge, and when they removed it, it was really starkly different, and I know that that's hard to get used to. As always, I struggle with setting precedents, with putting up taller fences where it's not needed for like a pool or children. In this case, it's not being enclosed, it's just to make a line of privacy, and I struggle with that piece of it. I'm sorry. I guess my question is, would you entertain the idea of, well, obviously you wouldn't because you're here, so I guess I'm just verbalizing.
They can always do a 6 foot fence, 22 feet, and then 20
Right.
feet, 4 foot. They don't need to make that thing with us. That doesn't need a variance.
Well, let me ask, any comments from the public on this? Any neighbors, any friends?
I just have.
Go ahead, Carol.
How tall is the shed? I know it's like a weird question, but how tall is that shed in the back? Just to get a perspective of what the difference is.
That's a good question.
How tall is what?
The shed. When you look at that shed.
Not the roof,
so
but the
the-
paneling to
The red door is typically 6 feet minimum.
Right.
So it's probably 8 foot high to the top.
and again, the other question is, from the sidewalk to this, is that the neighbor's house?
Yes.
They're allowed to have a 6 foot fence by the shed. That's
No, that wasn't what I was going with. From the sidewalk to the steps of the neighbor's, or the porch of the neighbor's house, how far is that from the sidewalk? The distance, approximately.
Well, we could
Looks to
probably
be-
measure that on satellite imagery, but it appears to be
Maybe 6 feet.
6 to 8 feet.
So the step down for the 4 feet would end where the window is approximately? I'm just thinking privacy.
Yeah.
What's the question? I don't know.
Yeah, she's trying to figure out where the 20 feet, how far back a 4 foot fence at 20 feet, where it would come on that house, so where their privacy would
Well,
Deteriorating.
the whole stretch is 42 feet, so it's halfway, it's half that distance.
Okay,
And that window is now blocked off, it's not an actual window anymore,
Well, I think it's going to be.
They're
I
remodeling.
don't know, they,
so it's gonna be back to a window, that was my question.
Yeah.
any other comments from the public? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Want to handle the environmental assessment form? We got both of us. I think everything else looked good in my end. Any other comments? Entertain a motion in regards to the short environmental.
I make a motion in regards to appeal number 2283 that after examining the seeker, that we find no or little adverse environmental impact, and that the board chair may mark no or little impact on numbers 1 through 11 and sign.
I'll second that.
Second by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one can say aye since they said aye. I'll entertain a motion in regards to the
Yep.
appeal.
I will make a motion regarding appeal number 2283, 5210 North Catherine Street, to approve a approximately 42-foot fence in which approximately 20 feet exceeds the allowed 4-foot by being 6 foot to match the allowed 6-foot area for the rear 22 feet.
Okay, second. Second by Ellie. And a yes vote is to approve it as shown. Okay. We have got 2 yes votes and 3 no votes. So it is denied as suggested. I would be willing to entertain a second motion as to what somebody might accept.
What would the difference be? I mean,
Well, if I were making the motion, I would have said 4 feet back even with the 2 houses. And then 8 is 6 feet from there back.
how far is that?
You know, we couldn't identify exactly, or I'd say even with their house.
Well, before we go this route, is that something you would even entertain? Do you want to keep it one level?
oh, yes, yes, if she can't have it as 6 foot, I'm not gonna split it.
Okay,
She will have to live with 4 foot.
yeah,
She wants 6 foot. If she has to live with 4 foot, we will do the fair
Yeah.
4-foot fence.
okay.
Like even if
Well-
it just went past the window, right? I
Yes.
mean, if you had 6 foot in the back, like, it's only covering much.
Well, and that's, I guess, what, unfortunately, I can't make a motion, but I would have proposed an alternate to take 4 foot from the curb or from the sidewalk back even with your house, which is probably about even with that house right there, and then 6 foot from there back. And that would have, the first 8 or 10 or 12 feet would have been 4 foot, and the rest would be 6 foot, and it would.
Could we talk about an 8-foot fence? I mean, an 8-foot section of fence being 4 feet, the front 8, end of it being 4 feet, just one panel,
Could do that.
8 feet. So you come out 6 feet, except the very last panel will be 4 feet. And you get more privacy from the front of the house back from 8 feet.
So one panel is what, 8?
8 feet long.
8 feet long.
They're 8-foot panels, so one panel
Right, right.
would be 4, the rest of the fence would be 6 foot, but then at the street, and that would be approximately 8 out of 20 feet.
Right, I understand what you're saying. Okay, I
Well, let me put you this, or let's put it this way, is even if we approve it, doesn't mean that he has to do it if they decide to stay 4 feet the whole way.
That's
It
correct.
doesn't matter. You don't have to build it what we allow you. You can still go 4 foot if that's what you decide when you talk to your mother and she said, no, I'll do 4 feet all the way. It doesn't matter even if we approve 6 foot for part of it.
So you're saying 6 foot to the end of the house? which
Yeah,
would
here.
give it to-
Let's just make sure, we're all clear about what we're
It'd
talking about.
actually be a little further.
This,
probably.
this first section of fence is 4 feet high, 8 feet back, and then the rest of it can be 6 feet. But what they're saying is obviously you don't have to make, you don't have to
You don't
make
have to
it all
have
4
4,
feet
you
if
could
you
do that.
want.
Okay.
I mean, basically, we rejected 6 feet all the way to the sidewalk.
And you also.
That's a
could-
done deal.
You also could build 22 feet of, if it's 42, if you want to build 22 feet of it at 6 feet and the rest at 4 feet too, if you want to, but this is a little better than that is what.
This is your envelope that you have to stay in. And whether you're not quite to it or not, that doesn't matter.
We still have to vote on that? You want us to vote on that?
yes, because either way.
Yeah, you
either way,
got
we
four,
get-
it's giving you
we get
more
the-
choices.
We do the
Yeah.
4 feet.
You could
actually-
actually stop the fence and not put that last section of 4 feet on if you didn't want.
That's
to.
true also.
Because I'm not sure what a 4-foot fence at that point would do anyway. It's really
Right.
the other
No, I
purpose.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
if we can I say
Compromise.
Yeah.
Yes.
compromise
Yes.
8 feet for that's,
All right,
we'll see what she says.
I'll hear a motion. I guess we should call it 2283A.
22.
Appeal
83A.
2283A for a motion.
Right. I'd like to make a motion regarding 2283A that we allow 8 feet of the 20-foot front yard setback fence to be 4 feet, and that the rest of the 20-foot setback and the other 12 feet is allowed to rise to 6 feet, as well as obviously the 22 feet that's not within the front yard setback.
Okay, second? Second by Ellie.
Huh?
Okay, let's,
That's totally confusing.
all right. Here, let me,
Sorry.
There, what?
the first 8 feet has to meet the 4 foot height.
Correct. I
The-
heard
the
that
other-
earlier, the way you said
But
it just
there's
now.
a 20-foot setback.
There's
So the
Yeah,
first 8
okay.
feet is
Gotcha.
4 foot high. The next 12 feet can be up to 6 feet high.
Gotcha.
And then beyond that is within code.
a 2283A, you said?
Yes.
I didn't look at it.
That one got you 5 yeses.
Anything
So,
else?
so what we put there, you can do it within that envelope, whether you go 6 feet all the way up to what you're allowed, or 4 feet, or eliminate the 4 foot in that first 8 feet. That's up to you.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you for participating in the
Thank you very
process. Appreciate it. Okay, next is 2284 and 85 Nellie Bonneville, 22 Hillcrest. Good evening.
This is a little more scarier than the Zoom part that I did last time.
Well, unfortunately, it might get a little scarier even even more. Just, we've had a lot of discussion about your application and what it actually should be and what is allowed by code. There's a number of issues that are involved here. First off,
With the shed, right?
no, we aren't even getting to the shed yet.
Ah,
Did you want to do the shed first?
no, I'll do this one.
Okay, all right. So 2284, the special use permit to do a small home studio to perform hairstyling. And so tell us what you're looking to do.
Pretty much just convert my garage that we really don't use. It just was filled with stuff. That's why we got the shed, to put everything in there. Just to work from home. During COVID, I found I really liked being at home, but obviously, you know, I love what I do. I'm a hairstylist, obviously. And pre-COVID, I would bring one of our dogs to work and my fiance would bring the other. And then of course, when COVID hit, neither one of us could do that. So they've been home. So it's just also easier with them. I know that sounds kind of stupid, but they're like our kids and they're little tiny dogs. So they need a lot of attention. So that's also a big reason why I want to do it too. And also my fiance works in Vermont. So he's home like at 8:30 at night. So if we ever do want to start a family, it would kind of be convenient to also work from home so I could still, you know, make some sort of an income and, you know, be a mom and all that.
Okay, well, first off, evidently it's not supposed to fall under a special use permit.
Yeah, this is no fault of your own.
No fault of yours.
We took in the wrong type of application and probably steered you in the direction improperly. So this is not your fault, but it is something we have to address. We took in a special use permit application and there's no place for a special use permit application here. It's either one thing, if it's deemed a home occupation and a permissible home occupation, then you need an area variance because you lack a parking space. So that's one thing. But so we have the hurdle of dealing with the improper application at this point.
Okay. As for parking, also the driveway does fit 3 cars, like the long way. And I would be done work before my fiance gets home, and sometimes he doesn't get home till like 9 o'clock at night. So that is one good thing, that a client would just park in the driveway, because I do only one client at a time. I'm not like a double booker or anything. So it would be kind of like, I guess really like me having a friend over. It wouldn't be like there'd be a ton of cars. I don't do like quick appointments. Normally they're like 2 hours at a time because it's mostly women and they get like a color service. So I'm normally I maybe do 3 clients a day and I'm with them like a couple hours at a time. So it wouldn't be like in, out or anything. But
Okay, so just to save the confusion
Yeah.
for yourself too, I mean, I understand obviously your driveway is long, you
Yeah.
can fit several cars in there. But when the code requires an additional parking space,
oh, okay.
it also means one that has its own maneuvering area too. So I understand that you can fit 3 or 4 cars in there, but really it only counts as one because only the last car can maneuver by itself. All the other
Okay.
ones are, so it really only counts as one space. So you would need a variance for not being able to provide the additional parking space that the code requires for that.
Okay.
Not the end of the world, but I'm just saying that just because you can fit more than one car in there doesn't get you out from underneath this requirement.
Now, so if we review this will essentially turn into a parking variance
Okay.
rather than a special use permit.
Okay.
Before that, we are wrestling with the idea as to whether it is a home occupation or not. Any feelings from the board as to how we want to proceed? I mean, I stated my thing earlier. I would disagree that this is a home occupation.
One of the issues that we have is that, and we get this a lot in the code book conflicts with itself constantly
Yeah.
about all kinds of stuff. So if you look under home occupation, it lists a bunch of stuff. What it doesn't list is hair salons or whatever as allowed. Then if you go to a different section where it talks about home occupations, it specifically says you can't have a barber shop at home or hair salon as a home occupation. So then the building inspector office looked at it and said, well, it's only one person, and there's a section in there where they talk about real estate offices being one person real estate offices, but they're different in the sense that people rarely have anybody come to a real estate office. The issue is that when it comes to home occupations is that it has to have minimal effect on the neighborhood. So, and that's part, if you said, well, I want to have a little salon, and I'm not saying this is what you should or shouldn't say, and I'm really only going to have, a couple of days a week, somebody's going to stop by and I'm going to do their hair.
Yeah.
Is different than I'm going to do 3 people a day.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I don't know if you can be a hair salon and do 3 people a week as an example. Right? So that's not the issue. So then what we're faced with is, I'll use the word density here, but density doesn't just mean how many people live somewhere. Density also means how does traffic or anything affect a neighborhood. The reason for home occupations is that there are things that you barely know they were there.
Yeah, because a lot of people have salons in their house and you wouldn't,
Well, we don't have, actually, I don't know if we have that. There are some probably that have been grandfathered in.
Yeah.
There's one, I live on Couch Street. There's one on Couch Street.
That's where I'm renting from right now.
Huh?
That's where I work right now.
Oh, that's where you work right now.
Yeah, I
Okay.
rent a
So that salon has been there.
Yeah.
It was there before.
In
I've been on
70s,
Couch
I
Street
think.
since '99, and it's been there since way before I was there.
Yeah.
And, but it would never be there today. It would never get approved today on Couch Street as an example. And so this is a balancing of R1 and what that impact is. So there's sort of, one of the things is that the building inspector has said, and I'm not sure I agree or disagree exactly because of the conflict, that they consider it to be a home occupation. If it wasn't a home occupation, it'd be a use variance, which you can't get because you own the house and it's a self-created hardship that you just stops that process before it starts. You have to prove that you didn't get a reasonable return on your property and all this other stuff.
But that's not the case here.
Huh?
That's not the case here.
That's not the case here. So I guess we have 2 things we have to deal with. One is whether or not we agree with the building inspector as a board. If we do, then we proceed to deal with the area variance. If we don't, then we have to decide how we're going to deal with the decision of the building inspector and whether we need to review it further. But it may not be worth it, even if in fact that decision was upheld, that it's a home occupation and people are concerned about the parking. So that you've got a sort of a double-edged.
All right, Kelly, you want to say something?
Oh,
No, Kelly.
Oh,
she did, yeah.
I just, I kind of going to what you were saying, Ron, and you can lead us into whether we're gonna vote on that. I'm not sure how you want to approach that, but
I guess the question is, if we were going to vote on something like that, do we need to publish it?
Yeah, if you're going to take that route where you're going to
Do an
review my
administrative.
determination on this, you'd have to table this, and then you'd have to file an administrative review on the zoning board's behalf, get this back in front of you for an official review.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Can we do a show of hands and not make it a vote?
Yeah. We can do that. Yeah, let's just kind of show how many people agree that it is a home occupation.
I don't think I'm understanding. If it's not a home occupation, what is it?
Okay, so, yeah, I was
I was like, wait, what is
feeling
it?
like you were probably getting confused in this
Yeah,
process.
That's
So
just all I'm
there, in our home occupation requirements, in that section where it identifies and outlines home occupation, it describes several uses that are typical. Not all the uses are described. You can't put every use in there, and there's language in there that says or similar, that kind of thing. So my office has determined that what you're proposing does meet the spirit of that home occupation, even though it's not clearly spelled out. Okay, so that's why you're here. That's why we're proceeding. The members of the zoning board, apparently 4 of them, are not so sure that does meet the spirit of a home occupation. So if it doesn't meet that spirit of the home occupation, and the zoning board confirms that's their position, then you wouldn't be entitled to do it as a home occupation. You'd actually have to get, if you wanted to do that, you'd need a use variance for it, which Ron started to describe that process is difficult, and probably you wouldn't even be able to, because you'd have to prove a financial hardship, which is hard in a home setting. Okay, so it's not to say we're at the end of that road, but I'm just trying to explain what just happened just here right now. There's in our home occupation section, it does not say that a one-person beauty salon is permitted. And like I said, not every use can be, you can't possibly identify every use in that section.
But on the flip side, in that another section, it specifically excludes beauty salons from it.
Can I explain my perspective on this?
Sure.
I think it does count as a home use specifically because it is a one-person thing. And I think that under the examples of allowed home uses, it mentioned tutoring and it said up to 3 students. And in my insight, I think that tutoring is going to have the same kind of back and forth and that is it up to 3 students. That could be 3 cars in the driveway, and that would be a listed allowed use. So if there was more than one stylist, I would have a problem with it. But with just one person, I think it's just, that to me makes it de facto a home work versus if it was multiple people, then it would be more like a full salon.
Did you read the whole paragraph about home occupation?
I did.
There was one other section in there that kind of tipped me off. It said, to be construed to include that which requires the presence in the home of machinery or equipment normally associated with commercial activities. And a stylist would have the same equipment that a commercial beauty salon would have, just fewer of it.
I mean, I have a blow dryer and chemicals in my house too.
And the last one is, and where was it that I saw it? You're gonna love this one. And permitted home occupants shall also comply with the following standards. The use shall not include wholesale or retail sales of products or materials on the premises. And I don't know of a hairstylist that doesn't sell shampoo.
I actually don't because I rent, so Kelly has her products, but I probably wouldn't really be selling products either.
I just want to put in my 2 cents just to have it out there. I think that this falls really on the line and it's super close, but my gut feeling is that you have other issues that really make this so much more difficult that it pushes it into, for me, that this is not a home business. One of the things that we talked about was it's pretty rare to go to a salon and not have to wait a little bit. No matter how well you plan that, it's not something you can always control.
I always, even now, I do text my clients if I'm running late because I hate when people like sit there and they're watching me and I feel like I'm like, you know what I mean? I don't want my other client to feel rushed, and my clients get so mad when like somebody's waiting. They're like, you're interrupting my Netley tap, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, no.
I'm good at like, I'm like, hey, I'm running 10 minutes late or whatever. So when the client's under the dryer, I normally like can time out and be like, yeah, I'm running late, so that is.
I guess my feeling is we're split enough where I think that we should table it and do an actual administrative review and settle it once and for all.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. The other thing I would say is that, I get it that you're gonna have, and part of it does have to do with traffic, but that you're one person, one chair, you know, you're only allowed, there's also a whole thing about you're only allowed 20% of the square footage of the house, so you can only use part of it. I doubt you need that much room necessarily. But we had correspondence, right? Neighbors wrote and said, please don't, they admire you and think you're a nice person, but please don't let you have the hair salon because it's going to disrupt their single family neighborhood. And sometimes we listen to neighbors, sometimes we say, well, yeah, but it's this person's right. If it was determined to be a home occupation, if that was the decision that we made after because what's going to happen is we have to vote about that. I would dare say that we're a 5-person board, you need 3 positive votes. I would say that it might be hard to get an upholding of the building inspector's decision, which would mean that you would need a use variance, which you just don't qualify for. The other question is that even if it was a home occupation, there might still be concern about the lack of parking space. And I have a little driveway. I can fit 3 cars in my driveway too, but I have 1 legal space. And that's the thing. And even the correspondence, people said we admired your spirit and entrepreneurship and all this other stuff. But the question is, how does that impact the neighborhood? It impacts you positively because you get to stay home and work at home, which is a wonderful thing. And I fully get the value of that because I did that for a while. But on the other hand, if it's 3 cars a day coming in to people, how can they, one of them said, and this is the phrase, it's actually, quietly enjoy my residential neighborhood. So I think that we can, whatever you want to do, but if we're going to decide about the home occupation, we need to table this no matter what and vote on it next month.
Yes. I'd like to hear a motion to that effect, because I do think that we're split enough where we want to do it right and we want to have it on the books accordingly and then follow it one way or the other.
Right, and allow the building inspector to prepare what their justification is.
Yep.
Too, right?
Yep.
It's just, it drives me nuts that they were like talking about there being traffic. I feel like so many people have like 5 cars parked on the side of their house. And I would never care. Yeah, so I'm like, it would not even be anything like that.
Carol, I don't think we're going to do a public hearing on it.
It's just because I live on Couch and I think.
Wait, we're not doing it.
We aren't doing a public hearing. Well, unless I don't get a motion.
I just want to say the impact it has, the beauty salon has on Couch, and that Colwyn is losing their parking on the street. And I would tend to agree with area residents that this could be a problem because it sets the precedent.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to make a motion.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion that the zoning board of appeals does an administrative review of the decision of the building inspector to clarify whether or not appeal number 2284 is the hair salon one, whether that the proposed use meets the qualifications for a home occupation is determined by the building inspector.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
You're all gonna have to pitch in for the $150 application fee.
Right. We also, I mean, I guess the other thing.
No.
Take Bitcoin.
Now, who took that application fee incorrectly?
Yeah, good point.
All right, so 2284 is tabled till next month, where we will do a formal assessment and determine whether a hair salon is considered a home occupation. And that will essentially determine whether you can apply for a variance for parking or whether you're dead in the water, so to speak, from that standpoint. Okay? And if we do make that determination, then it's up to common council if you wanted to petition them to add something in here specifically dealing with beauty salons. But that wouldn't happen overnight, although this whole thing is under review right now, correct?
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
So, you know, that could be something to address.
actually, Megan and I are on that committee that's doing the comprehensive review, so we can make a note about that. That, we're trying to change the code and modernize it.
And be more inclusive. I guess that takes care of 2284. I guess we should go on to 2285, which is, let's talk about your shed. Do we have a picture of the shed where it's located? I guess it's already, oh, there we go. How close is it to the property line?
It's like right on my property line.
And the problem is that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
And the problem is that you couldn't get it down the hill.
Yeah,
But you say in your application, if we knew somebody that would help you, you'd move it down there, right?
I mean, yeah, I don't really, well, it does look nice there, but if I have to move it, then.
When you purchased the shed, was your intent to put it at the bottom of the hill?
Yeah, it was anywhere, honestly, it would fit, because when I ordered it, I mean, I don't know the sizes of things, so our friend just told us to get I don't know, I think it's a 10 by 12 or something, so when it showed up in our driveway, we were like, that is huge. And the guy, the way everything is angled, he's like, there's no way I'm getting it down that hill. So I don't know if he's just said the hill, like he would never get his truck back up the hill or something. So we were just like, okay, well, it's gonna have to go there. But my dad and stepdad because he had to drop it in the middle of my driveway, they like hand jacked that thing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they spent hours doing that just so it was out of the way because I knew someone was gonna call. I even called that day to be like, hey, there's a shed in the middle of my driveway. If someone calls, and then, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they make any comment that if they had access to using the neighbor's yard?
Oh, they did. Yeah, he tried. He backed in there. We knocked on the neighbor's door and was like, can you move your car so we can try to do this? And she did. And I mean, to my knowledge, she said she doesn't care if the shed's there, but who knows? Maybe she was one of the ones that wrote it. I don't know. But she said,
the comments that we received had nothing to do with the shed.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, they should go into the public record, correct? And they would be available to her to view.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all the comments had nothing to do with the shed.
Yeah.
No, are we sure about that? Did we get something from that guy that,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
okay, so the neighbor to this side who owns the property, but I don't think it's the lady that lives there. I think he rents it to her.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the owner did call me and say that he was concerned about the shed being there, what they would do with snow, a couple other things. I mean,
Yeah.
so he did call me about that, and he submitted a letter, and I forwarded it along, but I just presumed that he mentioned something about that.
But that was in regards to the special use permit for the hair salon. He did mention the snow removal.
Oh, okay.
But it was the subject was Appeal 2284 special use permit for hair salon in R1. And he did have one mention in here, snow removal is an issue with the business. The snow would need to be cleared
Yeah.
more often.
I mean, We already pay someone to plow because we're never home. So I mean, I would just do that too. I would just make sure it was always, you know, of course, so nobody falls or, you know, any of that.
So yeah, it wasn't,
Oh, he didn't even care.
he did not mention that at all.
No, he also said that he thinks that shed might be slightly onto his property.
That was my concern too. Is your property line the edge of the driveway?
Yes. So it's like,
It's over it.
Yeah, it's over.
Could it be, you say in your application about, is there anybody that can help you? Because it seems like you would move it down to the bottom of the hill if you could, right? I mean, somebody could pick that up with a backhoe and drive down there with a backhoe.
yeah, that's what he had. I don't know why he said he couldn't get down the hill. I mean, he had a, like, you know, what it would take.
He had a backhoe though, or I mean, or a
I don't know
tractor
if I
type
know what a
thing?
backhoe is.
No,
But he had,
tractor, it's a tractor with he had a truck, right?
no, he came with like I don't know, it was a really big, like
A flatbed.
yeah, flatbread bed maybe.
But I understand.
Did you buy it from a company or?
It was somebody off Facebook that works with the Amish, so like he delivers them for the Amish and probably keeps some of the money, you know what I mean?
I do know the name of a guy that's really good. He's got a great truck. I just bought one of those myself. And he does amazing things.
Did you get a permit for it?
Cool.
Did you get a permit?
Yes. It's definitely gonna need to be moved. I mean, it's not on your property, so that's definitely an issue.
I'm concerned because it's sticking over onto the neighbor's property. I'm concerned because it's right on the, even if it was right on the property line, you're supposed to be 5 feet from the property line. I think it wasn't your, I understand you got stuck with this, somebody dropped it off there, I get that. I'm wondering if what we ought to do is, I'm gonna tell you that I doubt that I would, well, I'm just being honest, to allow it to stay certainly over the neighbor's property. I don't think you can move it over. So one suggestion might be for us to postpone this because you gotta come back anyway and see if you can find somebody to move it.
Yeah, I mean, if I can get some names, because I'm waiting to put my fence up, this, you know, I didn't want to put it up because I didn't know if I'd have to move this.
Yeah, so
Where's the fence
Or I'm
gonna
like,
be?
I'll just sell my house, I don't know.
Where's the fence gonna be?
It's in the backyard, I already have a permit for that, but it's gonna like enclose the backyard for our dogs.
yeah, so she wants to move this because that's right where it's gonna come down to, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Well, let me open it to the public. Any comments from the public on this?
I mean, it's obviously on the other property line, even without seeing the site map. And if she's expressing that she would put it in the backyard, then Kelly off the record, behind the scenes, could maybe mention some people, and you could postpone it long enough for her to actually prove that she put it in the backyard, away from the fence line, so that she doesn't have a conflict with when she's gonna put the fence up where that shed is located. That's my only comment.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone else? All right, I'll close the public hearing portion. I guess before we even get into it, shall we take a motion to postpone, or what do you want to do?
Do you want to try, I have at least 3 names that I can.
Yeah, I wanna just move it so I can get my fence done, cause I like paid the guy in April, so I'm just waiting on, I just want, yeah, to do my fence, so I just rather move it so I can just do it.
So, I do make a motion to postpone because if I give you the names and for whatever reason, they're unable to move this, I mean, it's gotta be moved off the neighbor's yard.
It's got,
I mean, you're gonna have to move it a little bit. But if they're unable to move it down, you're gonna have to come back and talk to us about, being close to the boundary. So I wouldn't say just walk away from this. I would say postpone. So I'll make a motion to postpone.
Second,
Second.
second by Ellie. All in favor?
Aye.
Postpone.
Can I add to that motion?
Yes.
To postpone it for, up to 2 months? Because I do know from my own experience that they're ridiculously busy and they may not be able to do this for, and, before the next meeting. So can I add that 2 months?
Everyone agreeable?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
You're all set. Thank you. You're not all set.
Thank you. All right. Chris Bushy,
Oh, thanks.
thank you for waiting patiently.
And we're not in a good mood, okay, so don't even come here, wherever it is.
And we've seen you before in other situations.
Well, Sarah wanted to meet you in person, so you did this on purpose to meet us.
All right, tell us what happened.
So we got the pool permit, and first of all, ignorance is no excuse to the law, and most is an ordinance. However, it was a game time decision, and I knew there was a 5-foot rule. Sarah looked it up, we couldn't find it. They came in, they were gonna put the pool, and they started digging. If you look off to the right-hand side, you see where the fence continues down. Guy comes to me, he's like, we're gonna take these 2 panels down. What do you mean you're gonna take these 2 panels down? Well, it won't fit where you want it, which was, we were going to put stairs where it's now close to the house. We were gonna put a pair of stairs there so I could have access below. So we looked, I thought the 5-foot rule was the property line. I said, you know what, go ahead, you're here, the deposit's not refundable, go ahead. So with that said, then I think Jim stopped by and he's like, oh no, there's a 5-foot rule along the house, and showed it to us, and here we are. So it was completely our fault, not on purpose, however, it was our fault.
Do you know anybody with a big backhoe that could pick that pool up?
Well, that's just it. If we pick it up, it's gotta completely go, because we have to blow out the fence, and then we have to, and if you look, so we see the property line right there, it's actually, that tree line drops drastically, maybe 2.5 to 3 feet on the other side of the fence. It's a good size gully, that tree line.
Go back to that other picture, would you please? So the pool is 1.5 feet from the corner of the building there?
Yes. The original plan we had, it would have been 5 feet, no problem, and we would have had a pair of steps right there. That was the goal.
Isn't that conduit an issue?
Yep, that was my question. That's electrical right there?
It is.
MLD signed off on it, so I don't know. The
That's a code
overhead
issue,
is,
though.
overhead is 10 feet.
But any power within where you can touch it from the pool is illegal.
If it's in conduit, I'm not sure. I'd have to consult with MLD. So maybe they're not aware of that.
I'm not sure you can touch that from being in the pool. I've never even noticed that until right now.
Well, it has to be a certain distance from a
From the
pool,
pool, okay.
from a pool or a spa. Any of the electrical, and any switching, and anything that is within certain distance has to be ground faulted, if memory serves me. Yep. What is that conduit for?
The pump. Pool pump. It goes to a GFI, the pump.
Where is the GFI?
Right there below, see where the filter comes in? Below, so the filter is be off to the right-hand
So
side.
that line is not GFI, ground faulted. It's down, it is at the pump.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I believe so, right? Okay. I don't know enough about electric. I know the outlet is a GFI.
Yeah.
That's all.
And
I
that
don't.
goes under.
Yeah, I don't know enough about electric to be able to answer that question, so it's probably not then. Although it was installed by a certified electrician, and he knew what he was installing.
Might not be an issue.
You know if there was an electrical?
May not be.
Because I know just.
Okay.
I have to put in the same thing for my pool, my first. But, I mean, I don't, it's not, I couldn't have the pool with the line through, but I know that the electrician is coming in and put that in. So if they did that for the pool.
It's up to Joe to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the main service entrance for sure, underground, to the water line, edge of the water line can't be closer than 5 feet, and then if it's overhead, it can't be closer than 10 feet
Yeah.
as a plumb bob drops. I'm not sure that's what we're looking at right there, though.
You know, I guess-
That's his service to the pool, is what it is. It's not ground faulted in the building, it's ground faulted over at the pump.
Well, the worst case is they'd have to change it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But that's not our thing.
No, that's Joe's.
I mean, I don't see, we're not gonna make them move a pool,
No,
so,
well, we'll see.
huh?
We'll see.
I'm not.
Any comments from the public on this? I'll open to the public. No?
I just can't believe that the people that installed the pool wouldn't have, yeah, it's a terrible situation.
I can't even, no, we won't ask who it was.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a whole different, that, we could be here all night on that one. There's a lot of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll close the public hearing portion. All right. Entertain a motion on the shore environmental assessment form.
Yeah, item number 2, by the way, is no, check no should be yes, they need variance from the ZBA with the permit. A certificate of occupancy, actually, a CO, right, Joe? Not a
Sorry?
permit, they need a certificate of occupancy, not a permit from you now, right? They had a permit. They have.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, they need a certificate of occupancy. Other than that, I would make a motion that we find little or no environmental impact and authorize the chair to check items 1 through 11 to show no or small impact may occur and sign and check boxes required on the last page.
second,
Second.
Ellie?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, like to entertain a motion on the variance itself. And we're 1.5 feet from it,
22 inches.
22 inches. Anyone want to make a motion, or we gonna make them take it out?
Well, if I could add anything, we think
Yeah.
we think this code requirement is there so that if a pool fails, it undermines the structure, right? And the way their grade slopes, is completely slopes away from their house. Their neighbor's gonna.
It would literally have to go up and to the left to get in. The neighbors
Yeah.
would feel more of a pain.
I have to note also that if they were to move the pool, there is no, they wouldn't be able to comply with the other regulations. They'd be either too close to the lot lines or the electrical service. So
So what you're saying is that whoever laid out the plan was wrong from the get-go.
well, I think the
Probably
dimensions were off
is-
a little bit.
Probably the overhead, sir. Is your electric fed overhead?
Yeah, and it's at an
Yeah.
angle too.
It's at an angle, yeah, and then it comes, yeah.
So that's not identified on the diagram. That's where MLD would come in. They've got to check off on that.
Nice.
Okay, all right. I'll make a motion to approve appeal number 2286 for a Class B area variance request to install the pool closer than the 5 foot from the principal structure on the lot.
Second.
Second by Ally. All right, a yes vote is to approve it as built.
Yes.
They get older, they get more childish.
You just call me old. Wow, Scott.
I am
What a
childish.
freak chair.
I was referring to the gentleman next to me. All right, that would be 5 yes votes. So you're good to go.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Are we gonna look at that electric? Is there something we need to?
Yeah, we'll take a look. We'll sort it out. Typically when an electrician does work like that, he gets an electrical inspection, so we'll work it backwards. And
Okay,
sort
let
that
us
out.
know what needs, okay. Just make sure I'm home because she can be a bulldog.
No, come by anytime. I'm always home.
Now you can start using the pool.
Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Now, what's interesting is MLB commented on all the other things in our package except for that one.
All right, that's interesting, sure.
I'm here for another matter. I was hoping I could-
She's here for another matter. We'll give you 5 minutes.
Okay, it'll be quick. I just got wind that the Common Council tried to pass, the removal of the off-street parking requirement that's in the zoning code. As somebody that's lived, as a native from.
Okay, there's no sense going, we're well aware of it and we've been at the meetings and we are, at least I think the majority of us here are against it.
I just wondered if the board would be willing to have a written opinion and a motion against the Common Council's proposed by McFarland on July 1st to remove the off-street parking requirements citywide. I understand that it's coming in front of the county planning board on August 4th, and I have a strong concern because even though it was supposed to be public knowledge and open to the public, I've only been able to speak to a couple people, but even they didn't know that this was even being proposed. And I have a very strong concern. 3 of the issues that came, well, one of the issues really that came tonight is a perfect example of why we need, and everybody knows why we need the off-street parking requirement. And I live on Couch Street, so does Ron. And the properties that are in the center city, around downtown, and throughout the city now have parking problems because Joe knows I call every other day about cars parked on the green space and grass and off and everywhere, because we are trying, as somebody that was on the committee with landlords and tenants for the rental registry, we are trying to reduce the illegal overpopulation of non-blood tenants in various properties. And this is one of the only few vehicles that we have, no pun intended, to enforce that. And when I was on the committee, I spoke to Canton, Potsdam. I can't tell you how many zoning code, building inspectors' offices that said, thank God we have this parking requirement for off-street parking, because they can't enforce it because they can't get inside these properties to inspect, even with their rental registries.
Yeah, we all went, it was in the paper, we went to the common council meeting. Several of us, both planning and zoning members, spoke against it.
And community.
Huh?
And community.
And community. We know about the August 4th meeting, I'm planning on going, I spoke against it. And the council meeting, McFarland proposed it. We fully know it. I independently polled the board so that when I went, I could say that we all felt it was wrong. The planning board did a resolution because they had a meeting. We didn't have a meeting. They had one after it was found out. And so they did a resolution to say that they needed to have been consulted, which they weren't. We're going to go to the county planning board. Hopefully they'll deny it. You'll need a super majority +1 to pass the law. Who knows with these councilors? I've been going and arguing with them about appointments and everything. But anyway, I think that the next step is to wait for go to the county meeting and say why they need to oppose it, which is the only thing we can do right now. And then we can talk about resolutions once the county is active.
I have a very strong concern because Jeff Moore and Mike Kelly, ironically, were on the landlord tenant committee, and how they cannot be aware of the negative impact that this will have throughout the city is beyond me.
We understand, but you're preaching to the
Yeah,
choir.
I know.
And you don't technically know how they would vote on it. They just allowed it to be passed through to the county.
With what's happened in the last 2 or 3 years with crime and how things have been done behind scenes and washed hands and whatever we don't know about, and how people that we would hope would have conviction and morals to vote in the best interest of the city, I have a concern. Because that's not what past common councils have done before the last 3 years. They've actually worked in the best interest of the city. So I mean, there are various landlords and developers, no, I'm sorry to say with that, but that would be in support of such a removal of a citywide off-street parking requirement. But actually, it is not in our best interest as a landlord, because you're going to change the quality of life throughout the city, and tenants want a good quality of life. So I just thought that a motion would help, but I'll stop talking.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening. Okay.
That's okay.
So if everyone's looked at the
I'll muzzle you
minutes,
soon enough.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the June 21st.
There's an issue.
Oh, there is.
They forgot my name. I was there. I didn't notice any other problems though.
You can't do it, right?
I was there. Ron, it was you and me. It was just you and me.
Oh, you were there with Mick,
Yeah.
right.
So I make a motion to approve the June 21st minutes with the correction that are,
Right, because it talks about where Ellie made a motion, seconded by Megan.
to add.
Thank you, Chairman.
Other than that, we're good. Anybody else?
Second.
Thank you, Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? I guess
Make a
I
motion.
can't approve because I wasn't there either.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I was not there. So.
So I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So I had a really cool experience last week. I got in, a meeting with the town of Plattsburgh. It was with my boyfriend Jonathan. He was having a little issue that we were there to oppose an application from one of his tenants to remove his trailer and move it over onto another property. But it was really interesting how they did it. It was so like mechanical.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and very efficient. They literally went through every item on the seeker, all of the seekers, and everybody had to vote if they agreed or not, didn't agree on each